Joe Nesbo. Most of us would be capable of murder in the right situation. The best-selling Norwegian writer on how his late brother inspired his work, his footballing past, and whether crime fiction glorifies police. Joe Nesbo is looking perplexed. I have just asked the world-conquering Norwegian crime novelist how he copes with fame. He is, after all, an international no. One bestseller, translated into 50 languages with book sales north of 60 million. As a former professional footballer, however, he regards fame as something from his distant past. I peaked as a celebrity when I was 17 years old, when I played my first match for my team Mold. Everybody knew me in the street and wanted to buy me beer when I was out on a Saturday, he tells me. It's never been like that since. It's impossible for a writer to be as famous and glamorous as a soccer player. Still, he does pretty well on the glamour front. Go to see Nesbo 64, talk at a literary festival, and you'll witness admirers by the dozen. Many of them are even keener on his craggy good looks than his addictive novels. He's the only writer I've ever known to be asked if he's single during an audience Q&A. He also tours regularly with his band Die Dare. It translates roughly as "those guys over there," whose folk-inflected rock has been big in Norway since the early 1990s. Today, Nesbo's piercing eyes are fixing me over Zoom. Softly spoken and charmingly self-deprecating, he is talking to me from Oslo, the beat of his much-loved, chaotic detective Harry Pohl. His latest novel, however, is set far away in Norway's chilly rural north. Blood Ties is a sequel to The Kingdom, 2020, and continues the bracingly and bleakly funny misadventures of brothers Roy and Carl. Entrepreneurs whose schemes to drag the small town of Os into the 21st century often necessitate killing those who get in their way, although the more gentle Roy only resorts to murder to get his mercurial younger brother out of trouble. Most of us would be capable of doing the same in that situation, I think. We may think that our moral conduct is part of our true nature, but as you get older, you see we are always adapting to circumstances, he says. Nesbo admits that the books draw on his relationship with his own brother, Nut, who died from cancer in 2013, aged 51. He was 1 year younger than me, which makes me Roy and him Carl, I guess. And there are similarities, like him being the more extrovert and me the more introverted of the two. How smooth was their relationship? There is a reason why the most famous story about brothers is Cain and Abel. I love my brother, but he could irritate me more than anybody else could, mostly because he would replay, with 1 year's delay, the same mistakes I made. But we were very close. One day when we were 11 or 12, our parents went on holiday in Europe and our mother brought us back these lederhosen. We said we'd wear them at school for one day. So, there we were, back to back during the break. He raises his fists, going, "Come on, we know. 2 kids in matching lederhosen their mother made them wear. We're ready." Those were real bonding experiences. Like his brother, Nut also became a professional footballer. In my case, I played only for a short while before I was injured, but my brother went on and played in the Norwegian Premier League for several years. Nut was also a guitarist in Die Dare, the last recording he did with the band when he was quite ill. We did it in his kitchen, like an unplugged session. We filmed it, and it was really touching that he was very reduced, but he could still play. I wonder if, had he not been injured when young, Nesbo might have gone on to be a big-name footballer, and then a sports broadcaster like his brother and never become a novelist. I think I was heading there all along, he says. When I published my first novel at the age of 37, the reaction from my friends was, "Of course, we don't know what took you so long." I had always been a storyteller. I wrote the lyrics for all my friends' bands when I was a teenager. Alongside his other achievements, Nesbo is also a grade 8 climber, which qualifies him as a light, despite not having taken up the sport until he was 50. But even Nesbo has encountered the odd professional upset. During a previous interview in 2013, there was clear excitement behind his habitual cool, as he told me he was shortly to meet Martin Scorsese, who wanted to film his serial killer novel, The Snowman. In the event, the meeting never took place, and Thomas Alfredson directed the film, starring Michael Fassbender as Harry Hole, to lousy reviews. I was smart, he says. I figured that if I don't see the movie, I don't need to say how I feel about it. So I've actually never seen it.